Good evening, everybody. Thank you for showing up. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor. Welcome to the January 14th, 2026 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. I hereby call this meeting to order. Although this is not really your first town board meeting, but it is your first regular town board meeting. So congratulations and welcome to Councilmember Clara Sanguinetti. Please rise if you are able to do so physically, or rise in spirit. We'll start with the pledge, and Clara, I'll invite you to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will begin the open forum portion of the meeting in just a couple minutes. Of course, the open forum is the portion of the meeting where members of the public can share their comments with the town board. You can do that whether you're here in the room or watching us on the YouTube live stream or on Teams, although to participate in the open forum, you'll have to join us and log in on Teams. The instructions for doing that are on the Town of Brighton webpage, which now is www.brightony.gov. As we have done for many years now, our town board meetings are all accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing communities, thanks to our ASL interpreters. Tonight, Benjamin Lyer and Jordan Staley are our interpreters. Thank you both very much for being here. As a reminder, out on the table outside the door are materials that we're using tonight. Both the actual resolutions we'll be considering, but also the supporting documents that go with them. All of that material is also available online, again, on the Town of Brighton webpage. We'll start with a presentation, and something tells me that's the reason most of you are in the room tonight. And I'm going to invite everybody from Color Brighton Green to come on up. Join me here at the podium. One of you in particular, Cheryl Frank. Back in 2007, a group of people dedicated to sustainability in Brighton worked with the town to establish the Green Brighton Task Force. That was a task force that was part of town government. We, over time, organized various task force groups. And from its founding in 2007 through much of 2008, the Green Brighton Task Force operated through the town of Brighton with the goal of collaborating within the community to make Brighton a greener community, a more sustainable community. During that first year, the task force had a number of activities. The inaugural Green Energy Fair, the inaugural Curb Your Car Week, great events that have continued, maybe with some changes to this day. In September 2008, the Green Brighton Task Force presented its final report to the town board of the town of Brighton and became an independent organization. And it was chaired by Cheryl Frank. Fast forward to today, Color Brighton Green has done a lot, and that's its current name. When they went independent, they adopted the name Color Brighton Green. Every year they sponsor the Eco Fair at the Brighton Farmers Market. They have regular films, talks, other information sharing events, a newsletter that literally thousands of people receive, and so much more. And when something good happens, and it happens a lot here in Brighton, other towns emulate Brighton's leadership. So today, the Climate Solutions Accelerator, another wonderful organization committed to sustainability, uses Color Brighton Green as the role model for other towns to form their own Color Your Community Green programs, and several towns have done exactly that. So much has changed, so much has evolved, so much has grown over those years, but there has been one constant. Cheryl Frank has been at the helm of Color Brighton Green from day one until now. And in recognition, Cheryl, of your incredible tenure, I know you're back there somewhere, with Color Brighton Green, I am very pleased to read this proclamation. I will present it to you in just a moment. Whereas Cheryl Frank is an environmentalist who has effectively changed how we understand and address local environmental issues. Whereas Cheryl chaired the town's conservation board when she spearheaded the Green Brighton Task Force and held the first green energy fair at Buckland Park with over 300 visitors, and then promoted the first Curb Your Car Week with a documented savings of over 7,400 car miles and 313 gallons of fossil fuel. Whereas during this time and under her leadership, the Conservation Board's Education Committee created an engagement campaign called Color Brighton Green, which was so successful that the campaign soon took flight in the form of a separate nonprofit entity, establishing Color Brighton Green as a formidable advocate for a healthier planet. Whereas Cheryl served as president of Color Brighton Green since its inception in 2008 until December 2025, dedicating 17 years to improving our environment. Whereas prior to the creation of the Monroe County Eco Park, Cheryl began collecting number 5 plastics at the Brighton Farmers Market. I remember that. And then expanded that to batteries, cork, CDs, and other products not recyclable through curbside recycling. Whereas Cheryl led advocacy efforts with Monroe County to expand plastic recycling and develop the Eco Park, where residents can recycle, it seems, almost anything, from flammable materials to pharmaceuticals, including syringes and sharps, clothing, electronics, in addition to those first staples of recycling, paper and glass. Whereas under Cheryl's leadership, the Brighton Central School District introduced and then expanded recycling and composting in school buildings and created a school environmental club at the French Road Elementary School. And whereas Cheryl also lives her commitment, she walks the walk. She lives her commitment to sustainability with solar panels and geothermal at her home by driving an electric vehicle and walking or biking whenever possible. Whereas Cheryl Frank has done a great service for the town of Brighton, Color Brighton Green, and our current and future generations, she clearly embodies Mahatma Gandhi's quote, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and all of the members of the Brighton Town Council do hereby declare January 14th, 2026 as Cheryl Frank Day in the town of Brighton. And we deeply thank you for your vision and leadership. This proclamation is signed this 14th day of January, 2026. Cheryl, this is, I think, maybe the longest proclamation we've ever given with the most discreet and ongoing, incredible tasks that you've completed for the town of Brighton. Thank you so very much. Wants to do a little, come on up, we'll do a little photo op, and then the podium is yours. Please.
Wow, thank you. This is, it's also my birthday, so this is kind of amazing.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cheryl. birthday to you.
Oh, thank you.
It really is Cheryl Frank Day.
Well, this is great. It's quite an honor. But all of these wonderful people standing behind me, it takes a village, right? And the community is so supportive. We couldn't have done Curb Your Car Week and the Eco Fair if everyone hadn't participated. So I need to thank the entire community, and many other organizations have started out of this. So thank you. And thank you. Karen was there at the beginning with me. And Tracy was there shortly after, and Margie was there shortly after. And all of these people are just wonderful. And everyone has a job, and everyone works together to do all the things we did. I think there's more things on this list than I actually personally did. So
That's not what we.
But thank you very much. And I just encourage everyone to, whatever's going on in the world, don't let climate change fall by the wayside, and let's make sure we still continue to be green and to speak truth to power to governments and corporations, because that's where the big numbers change. And thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for all that you do. I know it is a team. I don't think we've ever done that either, present a proclamation on the birthday. Okay, we will now begin the open forum, which we hold at the beginning of every town board meeting. The open forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board concerning any matter relating to the town, whether or not it's on our agenda tonight. Once I finish these instructions, if you're here in the room and would like to speak during the open forum, please raise your hand. When I call on you, please come up to the microphone, up to the podium to speak. If you're participating in the meeting remotely and would like to participate in the open forum, you must first join the meeting on Teams. And as I mentioned earlier, there are instructions for doing that on the town's webpage, www.brightonny.gov. Use the raised hand function when you're on Teams, and you'll be unmuted by the host, and you'll be able to speak. I do ask speakers during the open forum, whether you're in person or remote, to please state your name and your address before speaking. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. I will give you a 30-second warning before your time expires. We may not be able to answer questions that you may have, particularly if your questions relate to matters that are not on the agenda tonight. But our goal tonight, and at every town board meeting during the open forum, is to give our residents and others, because we don't, we welcome people, whether or not they are residents, to our open forum. Gives you the opportunity to share your thoughts with the town board and for us to be able to listen thoughtfully. So to that end, please direct your remarks to the town board and not to the room or other speakers. Please avoid personal attacks and outbursts of any kind, including applause or boos or the like, out of respect for the speakers and out of respect for everyone's time here this evening. We'll warn anybody that doesn't follow these rules. Repeated failure to follow the rules or failure to follow other directions from the chair may result in your speaking privileges being ended, being directed to leave the meeting, or even the early termination of the open forum. I obviously don't expect any of those things to happen tonight. So with that, is there anyone here who would like to address the board during the open forum? I see no one here in the room. I see no one on our Teams stream.
Bill, if we have
To that end, Chris,
If
go
we
right
have no
ahead.
one available for open forum, I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
I think I heard Nate under the wire there. Discussion? And I do want to make sure we've got, good. If there's no discussion, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. We have no public hearings tonight. We do have one item of communication. It's a letter dated January 2026 from Tharaman Tavakumar. She is the Director of Operations for One Home Global Foundation, Inc. It's a letter that she sent to me thanking me for attending and presenting a proclamation from the town of Brighton, along with Senator Jeremy Cooney, who presented a proclamation from the state Senate, at what really was a outstanding evening of Sri Lankan music from a group of Sri Lankan musicians led by Sri Lankan musical artist P.S. Balamurugan. That concert was held at the Hochstein School late last year. I just thoroughly enjoyed the evening of music. Tharaha, thank you so much for your letter and for a beautiful musical carving that accompanied the communication. Can I have a motion to receive and file that communication?
Move that we receive and file the communication from Tharaman Thavakumar.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. With the new year, we're in a transition mode on our committees, so we may be in between some of these meetings a little bit, but community services, do we have a community services report tonight?
No community services report tonight, but the first meeting of 2026 will be next week. Let me make sure I've got the right date here. Wednesday, the 21st at 10 a.m. at Brookside Community Center, or following the Finance and Administrative Services Committee if it runs long, which it virtually never does. It certainly won't under new leadership.
Thank you, Christine. Clara, Finance.
Yes, we met on last week, Wednesday, January 7th. Of note was a topic where we discussed an update of various fees from the Department of Public Works, where, Commissioner Layton and his team are working, doing a lot of research and preparing a presentation. We will be discussing this fee update again in a future meeting. And our next meeting will be on Wednesday, January 21st.
Thank you. Public Safety.
You got it. Bill, we last met on January 13th at 0800 hours, continuing the tradition from Chris. We discussed, I have my minutes here. We discussed calls from Brighton first responders. We also closed out of the wrong window. We also discussed an upcoming nuclear fallout drill that will be taking place at MCC on May 27th and 28th, and June 10th and June 11th. That will be a simulation going from Webster High School to MCC. And, many of our first responders will be coordinating that effort in the event of a failure at Gannett Power Plant.
And just to clarify, it will be on one of those two dates. It won't
Yes.
be both of those.
Thank you. A back-to-back nuclear fallout event would be bad news. And we also discussed, this was an item passed along by Councilmember Werner, safety alternatives for Chelmsford Road. We discussed the ideas around slowing traffic and traffic calming and safety. We discussed speed bumps. We also discussed a sidewalk. Residents told us they'd like to come in and hear more. The residents were unable to come to this meeting, so we agreed as a committee to keep that on the agenda for the next meeting. And that next meeting will be on February 10th at 0800 hours, right here.
Thank you. Public Works.
Thanks, Bill. I was pleased to return as Chair of Public Works after several years on Public Safety. We had our meeting yesterday. We first had an appearance by Blair Lasco of Waste Management, and had an extended discussion of their services to date with our new waste management system and generally where we stand in the state and other contracts and such. It was quite an interesting meeting. I considered it such. They did acknowledge some service issues over at Evans Farm, which did not get picked up, and how we can enhance communications. And we talked about the potential for push notification to those residents to alert them ahead of time, know what to do with their toters. Because if you leave toters out in the street and the wind comes up, you may have refuse on the ground rather than in the toters. But just better ways to communicate.
By waste management.
By waste management. And they also demonstrated their new proposed web page, which has got much more information in it and more links, and just generally how best to communicate with what is an ever-growing number of customers here in Brighton. We now have some 5,000 customers in districts,
over 5,000,
households, over 5,000, in various districts with waste management. And we are fairly unique, we are very unique in Monroe County. With that number of households being served by waste management. We believe it's a much more efficient system in our district approach and much less expensive. I was shocked when I talked with my son-in-law who talked about what they were paying in Fairport for waste management services. We are being charged, gosh, I'd say about a third of what they're being charged. This is a system that works extremely well. But that took about an hour of the meeting. We then moved on to discussion of the New York State Department of Transportation project updates, and particularly the enhancements there on Monroe Avenue, and an upcoming open house on January 20th, here between 4 and 7 p.m. They're going to have staff here to answer our questions during that period of time. There won't be a presentation per se, but there'll be various tables to discuss the various aspects of the projects. Also, the I-590 bridges are the first step that have to be completed before they can do the improvements of the roadway itself, and there will be an informational meeting there. We believe it's tentatively set for February 26th. 4 to 6 p.m., and we've asked that it be moved here to temporary town hall, and that appears to be the case.
Yeah, the one thing, Chris, we're going to look to see, how the turnout is next Tuesday night at the Monroe Avenue meeting. We want to make sure that wherever we really pushed back hard against any notion that it would be held anywhere other than the town of Brighton.
That's where the bridges are?
Exactly. It's where the bridges are, but it's also where, over a mile of lead-in in both directions are in Brighton. So really push back, and thank you, Senator Cooney, for helping carry the message as well, that meeting should be in Brighton rather than at their district offices in Henrietta. And I think, although we got to nail it down, that it will be that date.
So
if we see, crowds that are beyond what this facility can handle at the meeting next Tuesday, we might think about a different location. But honestly, I expect we'll do it here.
But these Monroe Avenue improvements are going to make a significant difference to our town. It's our main street and the most important corridor that we have. We also discussed the RG&E project, which is ongoing. They're upgrading the underground utilities, servicing the streetlights at various places around town. RG&E, for the most part, owns the neighborhood streetlights, and they provide that service at a fee to the district residents there. It is 100 years old in some aspects, and it's pretty remarkable that it functions as well as it does, but there have been innumerable problems in maintaining those services. So they are upgrading it as best they can, and they're moving along. We also had a discussion of the let's say, informal structures that are along the river, out along East River Road, which have long been a concern, particularly of residents of West Brighton, and how we're going to approach enforcement issues regarding certificate of occupancy, unsafe structures, and other issues. Council's looking at the title, which is quite interesting to the extent that it may well be that those structures are on state land, but nonetheless, there is an individual who maintains that he owns these structures and is developing them, and we want to make certain that they comply from the standpoint of safety and sanitation. So that's an ongoing issue. We also discussed neighborhood street lighting, which again is something that we discussed in relation to RG&E services. The Bel Air neighborhood folks have contacted me and indicated they're interested in seeing their Cobra-style lights, which are somewhat unusual. You know, what we talk about our harp lamps here in Brighton as being a symbol of the town, and strangely, they have a totally different structure. They're kind of a small version of a highway light, and they'd like to see those changed. We do operate lighting districts, however, and the residents that have the benefit of those services pay for those services. I know I live in the Struckmeyer neighborhood, and we pay for our street lights there. So that replacement, it would be a substantial undertaking, but we're going to add that to the items of discussion with RG&E as we look at neighborhood lighting in general. Also, it appears that in the homemakers area, they did get an upgrade of their street lights with LED bulbs, but they got put, but if anyone has any experience with LED bulbs, there's all sorts of different lighting temperatures that you can get. And these were particularly bright and did not fit in with the warmth of the other street lights, and there's about 10 of them that the bulbs are being replaced. Street light repairs, again, we're talking a lot about lights. There have been a number of light poles that needed work around 12 corners, and they're done. They're up, they're functioning, and it's a great enhancement of the 12 corners area with 21 new harp-style luminaries installed. Street light maintenance, for the town street lights, DPW continues to work on the scope of work and looking forward to setting out that contract for bid. We discussed the Homemakers Monument walls rehabilitation, and we're awaiting bond funding approval, and then looking to put that out for bid with the work to begin in September of 26 this year. The town park solar installation is essentially complete, but we're awaiting the interconnection agreements that they're being processed and so that the project can go online. They expect it to be operational in early spring. The work at the Parks and Recreation office has begun over at the old Brookside School. Asbestos removal is the first stage, and then there's extensive work on plumbing and electrical and framing, et cetera. The office space and gymnasium is projected to be completed in March. Town hall renovation is still ongoing. The geothermal heating system has been put into operation, and allowing the town to request federal IRA funding to offset those costs. Interior construction continues, and we hope to see that completed in April. The site work design work is still continuing and under review, and we're a ways before that bid can be let for the bids. Then also, the commissioner has, Mr. Layton has done a very comprehensive review of our permit fees, doing a comparison of our in-house cost of processing of that work, which is done significantly differently in different towns. So it's been very difficult to see where we stand overall, but it does appear that our fees are significantly lower than our internal costs of reviewing those projects. And we hope to have a report and recommendations within the next month or so. And we'll see that those are brought in line with other towns and appropriately compensate the town for the work that those entail. Next meeting will be February 10 at 9:00 a.m.
Thanks, Chris. An awful lot going on in the Public Works sector. Thank you, Glenn, for your leadership. There's, grant application that first stage that we'll be submitting tomorrow, and a number of things. So I appreciate it, and Bill Hafner as well. Bill Hafner, our highway superintendent, on a night where our highway crews could get called out for some plowing. We really appreciate both of your leadership.
And Bill, if I might express my approval, or my thanks to Council Member Corrado for all the work that she's done in getting all of these projects underway. So excellent work, Christine. I'm happy to take over from you.
Takes a whole team, and I'll show up next month, I promise.
That's right. You're still there, and I think you'll be driving some from the second chair.
Okay, we'll move to new business, reading and approval of claims. Clara.
Oh, yes. First, I would like to thank Earl and his team for their kindness and patience in teaching me the ropes. So today, I reviewed the claims totaling $748,000, 39.24 cents. And of note, there was the American Rock Salt Company payment for road salt, which was approximately $22,900, as well as the payment for electrode pads for the Brighton Police Department for approximately $1,400. The claims all appear to be in order, so I move for them to be approved.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing.
Aye. Nate, the next one, please.
The next matter seeks to accept a donation to the police department from Cheryl Overs in the amount of $25 and amend the budget to reflect said revenue. I move that we approve this motion as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Chief, anything you want to say about this gift?
No, just obviously thank you. We get donations throughout the year periodically. I just want to thank people. There's no need to necessarily do it, but we'll put it to good use. I can assure you of that.
Thank you. And thank you to Ms. Overs. Further discussion on that item? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing.
Aye. Chris, the next item, please.
Is to approve the solicitation of bids from professional cleaning companies to provide cleaning services for the police and highways departments and sewer department as well. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
This is something not unusual in the world these days. It is very difficult to find employees who can work jobs that are needed. This is an example of that. Traditionally, we have had part-time people doing the work in the police department as well as in the highway and sewer building at 1941 Elmwood Avenue. Because of the challenges we faced in hiring in those positions, we wanted to go out and solicit bids. The stability of cleaning companies, we hope, will give us A, good pricing, but B, the continuity of a crew that can do that work. So this is not something that a town is required to do, but we have traditionally, in a spirit of transparency in government, taken action on these bids so that we all have the opportunity to understand the underlying necessity for that action. So we'll be looking for these bids, and we'll see whether that becomes a viable option for cleaning those facilities. Any further comments on this item? We have a motion. It's been seconded. Hearing no more comments, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing.
Aye. Clara, the next item, please.
Yeah, the next matter seeks to set a public hearing for a local law amending the limited income senior tax exemption. I move that we approve the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Dan.
Yeah, so this is a bill that passed the state legislature in 2025, and got a little bit surprised by it. The governor signed it in December, and all of a sudden, first we heard about it in the building is when somebody saw a story on the news. So I'm not sure where that missed out on that, but it's a good thing. I'm just trying to find it in the packet.
For the numbers, Dan.
Sorry, yeah, the table actually is what I was hoping.
Got it here if you'd like.
Yeah, so it, well, I got roughly right. So previously, the maximum exemption amount for a limited income senior exemption specifically was a 50% reduction in their assessed value before their tax bill was calculated. And this has increased that to 65%. So I think it really should, it's going to help even more, the folks that need it. So anybody who had been getting, it extends another $3,000 in there. So anybody under $47,000 per the formula as laid out in real property tax law, if they have less than that coming in, will have a 65% reduction in their town tax line. The county has not taken action on this yet, but again, it just happened in December. Yeah, not necessarily surprising. We scrambled to get it on this for tonight. So I think it's exciting that, obviously the governor is trying to, and the legislature are trying to help, alleviate some of the pain for our limited income senior population. They did not take action, make any changes on the disability exemption. And again, and this will just be, at this point, until our tax rate will only be on the town of Brighton tax line.
Thanks, Dan. Any questions for Dan?
Just to be clear, it does not impact school taxes either, correct?
Correct. Yes. School actually has a different income cap anyway, and that's all something that has to be acted on individually by each school board. So, yeah.
And of course, there is time for both the county or the various school districts to act. For us, this won't go into effect until the tax bills that will come out.
2027.
Right.
It is a little tricky, not going to lie. A lot of rework has to happen on the part of our assistant assessor, Melanie Natali. We've been accepting these applications since September, so we have hundreds of them in, and there's going to be a pretty good number. I think last count, I think it was 130 or something like that she has to redo, so which is not great. But again, it was important enough that, to be able to help the, the folks in the residents in town that this is going to affect. Definitely felt it was worth the extra work to help them out.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you for doing that extra work. Thank you.
Well, it's Melanie.
Yeah.
Melanie is at the keyboard getting all these things entered. I can't take credit for that part.
Yeah. All right, anything further on this item? This will be setting a public hearing that we will be holding on February 11th. If there's nothing further, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Clara, the next item, please.
Yes, the next matter seeks to set a public hearing for the approval of the issuance of bonds in an amount not to exceed $250,000 for the repair of home acres monuments. And I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney for the town.
Second.
We've talked about these monuments, and we have a companion item that will immediately follow. You'll recall a number of years ago, the town set up a neighborhood improvement district. It's modeled on the business improvement district model. It was approved through the home rule legislation procedure by the state, and at the time, it was the first one in the state. And it was established for, reasons similar to what you see with the business improvement districts. In this case, the very significant monuments that are located at the various entrances to the Homemakers Neighborhood Association. That neighborhood is over 100 years old. The monuments are, I don't know if they date back that full 100 years, but they weren't born yesterday. And they have been in need of work. There have been some sort of, over the years, some ad hoc repairs, but really the proposal, and we had an extensive review done of those monuments. So the proposal is to do a more extensive project to really restore them to their condition. And what the Neighborhood Improvement District model does is it enables only the people in the neighborhood, the people who are directly affected, will pay for that work. So this proposal would issue bonds, and the timing is being done such that we can go out to the market with these as bond anticipation notes, which is the approach that's generally used when you have a construction project, so you can make draws on the amount of planned indebtedness. But it will also renew with some existing bond anticipation notes that will be renewing in early April. So starting the process now will enable us to meld those bond anticipation notes together. Anything else, Earl, that?
No, I think that covers it well. The anticipated cost is less than $250,000, so we don't necessarily have to borrow the full amount, but there are also some inspection costs at the end and issuance costs, so we're not entirely, and we don't have the bids back yet, so we're not entirely sure of the cost.
Okay, further discussion.
Yeah, will neighbors be notified?
Yeah, there's been a discussion with the Neighborhood Association leadership. We will let them know following this action, again, that the work is now coming together and will be done. We certainly anticipate, assuming that we get bids back that are in the right ballpark during the 2026 construction season. Anything further? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye, and Clara, why don't you do the companion matter on the bids?
Yeah, the next matter seeks to approve the solicitation of bids for the repair and restoration of entrance monuments within the Home Acres subdivision. I move that we approve the resolution before us as prepared by the attorney for the town.
Second.
And you'll see attached to Chad Roscoe's letter seeking approval is an itemized list of the various work product that is anticipated to be needed for the work prepared by Bureau Architecture, who did the study that we're relying on in going forward. Bureau is really probably the best-known historic architectural firm in town. So we're, I think, have reason to be, optimistic that these are realistic numbers. We have a motion. It's been seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Christine, the next item, please.
Yes, the next item seeks to approve membership renewal with the Association of Towns of the State of New York for the year 2026 in an amount not to exceed $2,300, as well as to authorize the finance director to make any necessary related budget amendments and designate the supervisor as official delegate to attend the annual business meeting of the association. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
The renewal cost has gone up a couple $100 this year. I think it was $19.50 maybe last year. It had been at that level for years and years and years, and the association has increased their membership fees. But really, given the access, particularly the access to counsel of the association, is something that as member towns were able to do, along with their advocacy for town positions with the legislature. So I think it's a bargain even with that increase. Further discussion?
We'll need to add that the training component, too,
Training
is
component
outstanding.
is phenomenal. Councilmember Sanguinetti and I and John, you are going down as well to the annual meeting in February. It is great opportunity. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Chris?
As a former attorney, I'm pleased to have reviewed the next item, which is to authorize the supervisor.
Once an attorney, always an attorney, Chris.
I couldn't help but read this contract, and I do have a question, but it is to authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Mancuso Brightman PLLC for services as attorney to the town for a term commencing January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2026. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
If I might start the discussion.
Absolutely.
This provides for, I think, very comprehensive description of the services that John's firm will be providing us at a monthly rate of, I think it's $11,500 a month.
Correct.
With a very reasonable hourly fee, much less than I used to charge. But
Yeah, there are really two components there, Chris. The 11.5 is the range of regular services that are provided. John's work to our board, his partners' work serving some of our other boards, the Planning Board, the Zoning Board of Appeals, Historic Preservation, that sort of thing. That monthly has gone up. It had been flat actually it had been flat since the Mancuso firm began doing the town's work, so there is an increase this year of about 15% in that piece of the work. The agreement also provides for additional legal services not contemplated in the ordinary course of business. If you go to the agreement, you'll see subparagraphs A through E, really, relating to the work that is performed under that 11.5. It goes on to state that there are additional fees for litigation and for work that might otherwise be, really not considered in the ordinary course. Last year, we paid about $225,000 in total in legal fees. This year, we budgeted $200,000. The difference, twofold. The good news is that we do have reason to expect we'll be paying less on litigation fees this year. Yeah. We are at the same time taking a little more time, given that we've got some new people in our Department of Public Works, getting some additional services, particularly in the area of seeker review from John's firm. So we expect, we've budgeted about a $25,000 decrease, even though we've got some new services that are being provided.
One question I did, first of all, my congratulations, John, that you covered it all in 5 pages. That's impressive.
I wish I could take credit, but Mr. Ken Gordon was the original author of that document.
Ken,
So I will give Ken credit for that.
If you're listening out there. But it's comprehensive, but yet it's to the point. The one question I have then from Mr. Gordon is paragraph 5 on page 4. And I taught contracts for 20 years at MCC, and I'm trying to get my mind around this one. This contract shall be deemed executory only to the extent of funds available, and the town shall incur no liability beyond the funds available therefore. Does that mean if we don't have the money, we don't have to pay you?
Yeah, effectively, it's subject to the budget approval process. So if the town doesn't allocate any money towards the attorney services, then that contract is executory only. as a legal proposition. As a practical one, that might create other issues. But yes, if the funds are available, that's a prerequisite to the contract.
That is language that you
Typically will
frequently
see.
find
Yeah.
in
Municipal
contracts of this sort, not even necessarily municipal contracts, but
Right. Anything with a procurement or other budgetary constraint,
Right.
you'll see that language.
Yeah.
I should have used that if I don't have the money.
you
to
might
pay
still be
you.
lawyering.
Yeah.
Very good job, and it's great to have you, John.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to
is-
serve the town.
It is great
Thank
to
you.
have John and his team. You know, we hopped on the phones just yesterday with, is it yesterday we were on the phone with Lauren?
I believe it was yesterday, yes.
So it's a good team you've got there, and I certainly support continuing this agreement. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. This is, the last item is something we were able to add late in the session, but I'm pleased that we were able to propose appointing current planning board member Jason Babcock Steiner to serve as interim chair for the planning board, and I'll ask Clara to make that motion as a recent transfer from the planning board to the town board.
The next matter seeks to appoint an interim chair for the planning board, and I move that we adopt the resolution before us. And I do have a question.
Sure. Can I have a second?
Second.
Christie.
What does interim mean? I know what interim means, but what's the plan
Yeah.
to make that permanent?
And 2 points. What does interim mean? It really does mean until a successor is appointed. Normally it would be for a year. What does it mean in terms of how are we going to address this from a long-term perspective? As you know, our former planning board chair, Bill Price, and we appreciate Bill's service over many, many years, chose not to return to the board and therefore not serve as planning board chair. We have a couple of members that have done it for some time on the planning board, Jason being one of them. We will be looking, as we look to fill the last vacancy on the planning board, we'll be certainly looking if there are people with experience in chairing organizations. Obviously, planning boards operate with somewhat different rules than other organizations. So it's important to have people with some expertise. Jason is happy to run the meetings. It's some of the other, the nitty-gritty
He's great.
that
He's great, no
Bill
doubt.
did. But I think Jason is a real good, solid, and that was the subject of our conversation with Lauren yesterday, was his ability to do that role well. But we will be looking, whether it's through a potential new member, and that's always possible, or from an existing member being willing to step up and take on the full responsibility.
And there's 2 vacancies, correct?
There's one vacancy. We appointed Grant Dimbleby, and we appointed George Smith. So there are 6 members on the board now.
When was George appointed?
At the last meeting in December. So we have one vacancy left. We have a motion. Clara made it, Christine seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. Matters of the supervisor, just to follow on, Chris talked about waste management. We have spent a lot of time, both in person, as you mentioned, at the Public Works Committee meeting, but really working very hard with our representative from WM, Blair. They dropped the ball in a couple of ways during this year-end transition, and they've acknowledged that. Folks in the community have gotten the corrective postcard, many of us in the last day or two, in which Waste Management WM apologized for sending out a recycling schedule that wasn't accurate. And that has caused a lot of well-deserved consternation. And in some places, particularly in the Evans Farm neighborhood, which is a new component of the district, not only did you have households working for the first time, in some cases with Waste Management, those very same households had, in many cases, contracts with Casella. They had put toters out to the street as directed by Casella, and Casella didn't pick those containers up to take them back. So you had, in a windstorm last week, 3 and 4 containers in front of some houses. To his credit, Blair took responsibility, WM took responsibility, but we've had some very, very tough and very, very direct conversations that it is really important for them to provide accurate information. Chris talked about the communication. They are about to roll out a new webpage. Christine, I think, made a great suggestion that was the topic of some discussion at yesterday's Public Works Committee meeting, to incorporate that push feature into their webpage. And this is for the district. This is for refuse district customers. A push feature would enable them to push out information like, hey, the calendar we Waste Management sent you is incorrect. Because they didn't have that feature, they had to rely on old-fashioned snail mail, and it took a couple weeks to arrive, leaving people understandably frustrated. The one sort of barrier to being able to implement that quickly, because they are a district, because those individual households are not customers of the town, customers of Waste Management, the town is the customer of Waste Management. So Waste Management doesn't have phone numbers or emails for those customers. So what they are considering, what I hope they will do, is asking customers to provide them with an email or a phone contact so that a push system can be set up to get information out to customers in the refuse district wherever possible. One of the advantages of the refuse district, beyond the tremendous price differential we're seeing, in some cases $500 or more cheaper in the refuse district than private customers of Waste Management are paying, but also dedicated communication lines. Chad and Leslie, who have been doing yeoman's work communicating with Waste Management over time. We're seeing, them working through this year-end transition challenge. Part of it is a function of their admitted screw-up on communication. Part of it is a function of the challenge of finding enough drivers these days. So we're gonna have to watch very closely. We can't lose sight of a very significant cost differential, but our residents also have every right to expect accurate information coming out from them and service that hits every house on every street. They've been responsive on some of the issues like the front door service. They are picking up at people's doors for people with mobility issues or age issues where it's difficult for them to get their containers out to the street. That's a good service that they have not charged for. So there are some wins, but there are some other where we haven't seen a win yet. And they know it, they've heard it loud and clear, particularly at that meeting yesterday. and we're going to hold their feet to the fire.
If I may give a
Oh,
free
yeah, sure.
idea, because I live in Bel Air and it was a bit of a commotion. I would say we were relying on our neighborhood leaders to get updated information, because we went on our Facebook group and every neighbor had a different piece of information they were getting from the website, from the phone lines. So how about maybe discussing this with the neighborhood leaders to maybe have a connection with Blair, so if for whatever reason something like this happens again, our neighborhood leaders get the message and they can then rely.
Blair, in his position, cannot work directly with residents. He has made that clear. His role, his responsibility is to work with town officials. But we can certainly, I think we had some very good communication in the Evans Farm neighborhood. Their neighborhood association leader reached out to me, and we set up a good line of communication. And when we hear, and that was a neighborhood-wide problem, and it was, exacerbated by the transition. But yeah, certainly we can work to do that with any neighborhood. I hope we don't find ourselves in this kind of position going forward.
Hopefully.
Well, the hope with the new website,
Yeah.
that will have active information or current information. In fact, if a neighborhood's been missed, I would think that'll be caught and then communicated immediately and available to the neighborhood association.
And in some
And
cases,
each individual contract.
yeah, and in some cases, it would be either Chad or Leslie who have communicated directly with Blair and can communicate directly with the neighborhood heads. But yeah, it's important that information get out to the neighborhoods. A push-type system will really help in making that happen. We talked already about the information meeting that the state DOT will be holding on the Monroe Avenue project January 20th, next Tuesday, 4 to 7, right here in this room. We had a lot of discussions because there are two related projects. Not only are they going to be doing work on Monroe Avenue, ultimately all the way from the city line to the village of Pittsford, but the bridge project, which will be starting this construction season. The bridges, the 590 bridges over Monroe Avenue and Allens Creek Road. They will have people at the January 20th meeting with familiarity with that project, but literally just today, we've also gotten at least tentative word that there will be a specific bridge project meeting held also here tentatively on February 26th from 4 till 6. If that changes, we will let folks know.
Sorry, what was that date again?
February 26th. And in addition, the plan is there will be 3 stations where the DOT will have a team at each station with plans of, and it's a big, big role. We're going to give each one of those stations 3 of these tables so they can roll the entire plan out in front of you. The fourth, there will be a 4th table as well. That will be town staff with the comments that we have made already to that project. And I certainly appreciate the work that Councilmember Corrado did in working with me and town staff. Focused on, you said it, Chris, Main Street. Monroe Avenue is Brighton's Main Street. It should be structured, it should operate like a main street, not as a busy thoroughfare designed to send people out to Pittsford and Victor and beyond. It is a local economic engine. It is our neighborhood's artery. And we've recommended a reduced speed limit, 30 miles an hour. Thank you, Christine. I think it's a great idea. Good feedback when I've discussed it with people. More crosswalks, particularly crosswalks that are tied to bus stops. Transit is an important part of the overall picture on Monroe Avenue. Some work on some of the intersections, particularly some of the ones that are laid out a little funky right now. And this was really something that the state already had in their plan, the road diet. Three lanes, center left turn lane, and bike lanes. It's worked, I think, well on Elmwood. It's worked well on Town Line Road, and it's something that the state DOT recommends, and we agree. There are, however, some tough intersections. The Warrington-Sylvan intersection is a tough one. Their proposal took the traffic signal out. Our recommendation says put it back in. Obviously, the 12 Corners itself is also a challenge, and that will also, just like over at Elmwood and Clinton, widens back into 4 lanes. It'll widen back into 4 lanes at the 12 Corners. But so those meetings are going to be held in January and February. I'm hearing a lot of interest from businesses, organizations on the avenue, and I'm sure they're going to get robust comments in.
If I may, the information on the website right now offers more information at a DOT URL, and it connects to nothing right
Okay.
now. So
I'll
we'll want to
follow up on
get
that tomorrow. Thank
buttoned up.
you. A couple other things. We are expecting a snowfall tonight and into the day tomorrow. We've had a respite, and sometimes that gets people thinking that they can park on the street. Parking on the street is not allowed during the winter, and particularly it's a problem when it snows like it's going to tonight. It makes it hard for our plow crews to adequately plow the street, and it also, puts them in a dangerous situation, particularly in neighborhoods without lights. They come upon these cars, they have to jog. It makes for a real difficult night for the crews. So please bring your cars in. Don't get ticketed. Finally, an update on Brookside School, the Talmudical Institute. Again, it was mentioned. They have begun work on the so-called north wing of the Talmudic, of the Brookside School that's now owned by the Talmudical Institute. That is the wing that the Recreation and Parks Department will be moving to. They've begun asbestos remediation. That work is being done by a licensed remediation firm, Rock Environmental. Once that work is finished, and as one of you said, probably March, the renovation of that building, including work on the gym, the Parks and Recreation Department will move to that wing, and the Talmudical Institute will begin work, weather permitting, on their site work, their exterior work, as they begin the build-out of their planned construction of their yeshiva on that site.
I believe the work was anticipated to be completed by April.
Well, it's Town Hall.
What's that?
Town Hall. So
Yeah, Town Hall is,
Oh, excuse me.
yeah.
Wrong paragraph.
They expect March for this work. And one important note, and we've been very clear and very insistent, and a couple times when they missed, we got right back in their face. All construction traffic must access the project from Winton Road. We've gone round and round a little bit. There is a parking plan in place. There is a stationing plan in place. And that's something that we expect them to follow because, again, they've made a commitment and they've done a pretty good job of keeping it, mitigating any impact on the surrounding area. That's all I've got. John, matters of the
Thank you. Nothing to report tonight.
matters of the town clerk.
Just, obviously, we're in the midst of town and county tax collection at this point. So we've got paying in person here at ESU, or there still seems to be some confusion on the drop box. I think we were so successful with the drop box in its old location out back. It's been hard to, even though I moved it before we moved, and just to kind of get people used to it, it's still causing some confusion. So it's in the front of the building, front of the police department, around the Elmwood side, the main entrance to police and courts. And it says it right on the bill as well, but figured there's a chance to remind folks that that's the case. And then in the assessor's office, New York last year passed a change, another good change, where as far as notifications to residents about the existence of property tax exemptions. So the first notice goes out as in here in Monroe County is at the bottom of the school tax bill. I'm really going to try to see, having lived through this now as helping overseeing the assessor's office, we need to really want to talk with the folks in the county about changing what that notice says, because there's a lot of people still think that's just STAR because it's on the school tax bill largely. So work on, maybe we can try to get them to change up that phrasing a little bit. I know there's certain wording prescribed in real property tax law, but if there's room for more verbiage around that, hopefully we'll be able to get that changed. And to that end, we will be sending out a letter or maybe a postcard, depending on how concise we get our language between Melanie and I. But that'll be going out here in the next couple of weeks to satisfy the other requirement. Hopefully you can catch the other folks. The letter we sent out earlier in the fall was, again, hugely successful. I'm still getting a lot of people bringing that in. Now that people are coming in to pay their town and county bill, oftentimes that letter is also in hand. So it was again, a good outreach, and hopefully this letter will catch some more folks. Maybe they'll see this also, and we can get them in under the deadline.
Yeah, and hopefully, publicity about the 65% that will be, that we started our action on tonight. But yeah, the work you did last fall really moved the needle.
Yep.
Getting people in, and we don't want to see people missing out on tax benefits that they're entitled to.
Yep. I always call them, like, these 65 and older are earned benefits.
Yes.
So let's not let them miss them.
Good. Thank you. Do you want to talk about the postmark situation again?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. So USPS announced that they're changing how they're doing postmarks, and as withholding any judgment on that decision, but it used to be that everything you dropped in a blue box received a postmark that day after it was collected, and that is no longer the case. So, you get the news story every year where you different taxes, but you see people lining up at Jefferson. They put that camera in the drive-through or the drop-off at Jefferson.
Been there,
filming
done that.
the people dropping those off at the last second. Those people will all be late now because it may take a couple of days for that postmark to actually be applied. And under real property tax law, that postmark is, when you mail it, is what governs timeliness. And anything lacking a postmark is the date we actually have it in hand. So don't wait. We'll say it again in the next, because we'll have another meeting before the due date. So don't wait until the due date, the day before. The best way to do it, and we've been touting this for years, is the best way to do it if you're mailing it in the last week, last few days in particular, walk into the post office and ask them to actually stamp it at the counter, because that way it'll bear that postmark and you're covered. Otherwise, we got the drop box at Elmwood, and then we're here every day as well. So we've got a few different ways to get them in.
And if I recall, even the hand stamp, their hours of doing that may not be as extensive as they used to be.
Well, their hours in general are not as extensive as they used to be. So it's really part of their reimagining their service. Just use their phrasing.
Yeah. Same phrase that RTS used.
Yeah, it was.
Same outcome, too. Thank you, Dan. Matters of the Town Board.
Yes, I have one thing. I want to bring us back to the beginning of tonight's meeting and the assembly of folks here who were celebrating Cheryl Frank today. And to some of the conversation that Councilmember Sanguinetti sparked about the planning board. I just want to remind the community that you've got these folks at the table, but we also have over a dozen volunteer boards that help with the governing and the visioning for the community. And so there is an opening on the planning board that's been posted on the town page. There's an opening for the Historic Preservation Commission. That's also posted on the town page. And coming soon to the town website is an opening for the Conservation Board, which you heard some about tonight with Cheryl Frank, Karen Berger, who was present tonight, Lucas Barber has some intersection there. Mitch Nellis serves on the Conservation Board. So you saw some of the people who are doing a lot of the thinking and guiding for the community. In total, it's probably close to 150 community members who take time out of their days and share their expertise and advice. So as we're going into this year with these openings and perhaps some others, the Community Services Committee is going to be spending some time considering how to support these boards, how to bring more voices to the table and keep the brilliance of Brighton going, because we really do have an overwhelming number of people who are qualified to serve on these boards. It's an embarrassment of riches when it comes to sifting through applications, meeting with prospective board members, and then making a really tough decision. So we're going to give that some extended attention this year.
Good, thank you.
Bill, if I might, my favorite horse is toters in the street. They're a problem. And I'd say the majority, more than half of my own street, as I drove through the rain in the dark tonight, we're still in the street, and if it's going to snow, that's going to be a problem for the plows. But put them on your lawn, and it does take a little foresight that if you do have a snowbank, and to hump that toter up on top of the snowbank is a problem. So take your snow shovel with you when you take the toter to the street. Make a hole for it and stick it up off beyond the curb or on your grass. It's got to be a real problem now that everybody's got those toters out there.
And sometimes people have wide enough driveway curb cuts that they can slide them into the corners. Yeah, exactly. But you're right. Just like the cars, that's an even bigger problem because they're harder to see. They're not reflective. And
That's right.
They are not supposed to be there either. Thanks. Good reminder. Thanks. If there's nothing more, I want to thank our ASL interpreters again. Great job, and it really makes a difference. We have nothing for executive session. Our next meeting will be 2 weeks from tonight, Wednesday, January 28th, 7 p.m. right here in this room, SUNY Empire State University, 680 Westfall Road. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Ann, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Councilmember Sanguinetti?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Have a great evening. Oh, one more thing. Keep the cameras rolling. Reminder, Monday, January 19th, noon. Again, here at Town Hall. We will, I'm sorry, Monday is the day off. Friday, 2 days from today, the 16th, Friday, January 16th, the town of Brighton will be observing Martin Luther King Day. And in particular, we will be honoring with our Keeper of the Flame Award, Barbara DeLeu, who has, again, we talk about these wonderful people who give of their time. Barbara is not on one of our town volunteer boards at this point, but she has done a great deal of work wearing many different hats with many different organizations, and she is richly deserving of the honor she'll be receiving. We're also going to have music from Carlton Wilcox, so noon, Friday the 16th, right here. Now we can cut. Now we're done. Have a great night.